I was just like, I just wanted to create my own like crazy dramatic stories. I love David Lynch. David Lynch is my bread and butter. Surrealism and expressionism and just how far can you push a story into its medium, but also what medium works best for a story. So that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm kind of in this gray area. I think as a burgeoning filmmaker is I love film. Film is my number one, I think, priority, but at the same time, I don't limit myself to that, or I try not to. I'm just like, what pairs well best with whatever it is I'm trying to talk about.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Film Goals podcast. Today, I'm with the one and only Simone.
Hi.
And she is a filmmaker, artist,
writer.
List them out.
Okay, so I'm a writer. I am a filmmaker. I've been working in the film industry personally and artistically since 2015, and I am also a published comic book artist. So I do comics, I do illustration, and I work a lot in the art department. I love creature design, but I do stuff here and there. I'm a writer with Film Snob Reviews. We have a podcast every single month called Snobcast.
All right, let's back up. Let's start at the beginning. Yes. What made you get into filmmaking, or what came first, writing or filmmaking?
The writing.
Okay.
The writing. So a lot of them say it. A lot of filmmakers say it. Spielberg, Guillermo del Toro, which I loved seeing Guillermo del Toro's talk that he had at UNLV a couple of years back with Menendez. But he was basically just like, it's something that you have to do. You have to do it. It's not something that you want to do. It's something that you need to do, is to tell a story. So that's kind of where I'm at, is never where I'm just like, I'm always trying to push stuff out. I'm just like, oh, there's something in my brain. It's like the bee in your bonnet or whatever. And there's a story that you need to get out. So then I spiral.
Is that how you started when you got into like art?
Everything, yeah. It's always been the storytelling.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Just storytelling has always been the number one.
Awesome.
The number one thing.
What did you start writing when you first started kind of like dipping your toes into it?
Definitely, I mean, starting out, not good.
Yeah, no one's good.
No one's good starting out. But I love drama and I love horror. I would say horror is probably my number one thing. And I didn't start out being like a horror lover because I was very protected as a child. I was like, or as a teenager even. My parents were just like, they would just gather me up and be like, oh, you can't see this stuff and this isn't for you and blah, blah, blah. But then YouTube exists and the internet exists. So I broke through that firewall per se. And I was just like, I just wanted to create my own like crazy dramatic stories. I love David Lynch. David Lynch is my bread and butter. Surrealism and expressionism and just how far can you push a story into its medium, but also what medium works best for a story. So that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm kind of in this gray area. I think as a burgeoning filmmaker is I love film. Film is my number one, I think, priority, but at the same time, I don't limit myself to that, or I try not to. I'm just like, what pairs well best with whatever it is I'm trying to talk about or trying to convey.
Do you remember some of those first, were there like short stories, or what was it that you were writing first?
Oh, just a bunch of dramatic bullshit. Okay. Can I swear on here?
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah, just very dramatic, and just getting those feelings out, especially as a teenager. But I've always been writing screenplays, and starting out because I was really lucky. I went to LVA. I was born and raised in Las Vegas. I went to LVA, and I started out as
Las Vegas Academy.
Yeah, Las Vegas Academy. Which is downtown, which is a really awesome place to grow up and to see things. You see everything down there, You see people gambling and getting upset or having the best time of their lives. You see people pooping on the side of the street, holding scissors and you know, talking to themselves and stuff. And you see a really great, really fascinating span of humanity and behavior and all of this stuff. So I think that's where a lot of my inspiration kind of comes from is where can we take those things and where can we take those stories and these conflicts and stuff. But in Vegas, it's just so interesting because everyone here is just so individual, but also so down to earth. And it's really easy to people watch down here because everyone's such an individual. But earlier on, definitely just, you know, just like daydreaming kind of stories. Just, I remember, okay, we're regressing. We're bringing memories back. I remember my second full-length screenplay I ever wrote when I was 13 years old was actually, and it makes my head hurt thinking of it, but it was really similar to the characters of Euphoria, but in a heist movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
You're 13?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 13. I was 12 when I started writing screenplays, and I studied. You know, I would go to the Barnes and Noble section, the film section, and I would just look at all the books and I would study them. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I literally had Sid Field's book about screenwriting, and I would put it. I read it back to front, you know, and front to back, and I took notes on it. I had a whole notebook, just taking notes on it and everything, and I put it. I slept with it under my pillow, because I was like, I'm just gonna ingest it and everything, and I did. But then I realized those were just, and that's I think a really great rule of thumb for whether you're filmmaking or just creating any kind of art, you're writing or whatever, is to take what people give you and use those as like rules and guidelines. And once you know everything back to front to back, do whatever you want, you know, and you know, nothing is constrained anymore. And I think that's something that people let limit them so much these days, especially in filmmaking, is adhering themselves to too many rules and too many constraints and all of
How
that.
did you even know to like look up Sid Field or Sid?
I found him just in Barnes and Noble. I don't know why.
And you're like 12. Like, you know, when I was 12, I wasn't even thinking about that kind of stuff. Like, I loved movies, but I wasn't like, oh, let me go find out who the writer is. Let me find out. So how did that even come to you? Like,
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I loved
though.
it. So if it's like when you see a great movie, you know, like I saw Nocturnal Animals outside on a poster, and just like movies like that. When you see a great freaking movie, you're just like, I have to
know everything about it.
I have to know everything about it. You know, look up the IMDb trivia and all of that, and just be like, I want to make something that evokes on this level and everything, and makes me feel that way. But writing it, you know, and writing is a completely different process.
Yeah,
you feel it.
It's a whole nother beast. So talk about your graphic novel stuff. Like, how did you get to that, and what is your graphic novel about?
So that's exciting. Okay, so I got published 2 years ago, I think. My graphic novel, it's called Just Another Meat-Eating Dirtbag, and it was a collaborative project. So I was actually hired onto the project by the wonderful, amazing, talented, just all-around amazing guy, Michael Anthony, who is he's a writer and he's also a veteran. So he writes a lot about his experiences as a veteran. But what's amazing about Just Another Meat-Eating Dirtbag is it's kind of a romantic comedy in a sense, because it's about his experiences, or taking from his experiences as a war veteran who he served in Iraq. And then it kind of talks about how he carried that with him once he came back, and how it kind of it was the catalyst for a lot of his addiction, for alcoholism and whatever else, but also how he was just not exactly sure how to have relationships with people and connect with people. But then he finds himself falling in this really great relationship with someone who was super empathetic and just super bombastically like sympathetic and empathetic to all walks of life. And he ends up falling in love with an animal rights activist. Okay. So it's this kind of hilarious, like almost ironic juxtaposition of this relationship between her. She gets called in the book Coconut against him, and just his apathy versus her like over empathizing with all of like with everything, and her going out on like strikes and marches and stuff for animal rights. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna raise our kids vegetarian and all this different stuff. And he brought me on because he
and what was your role in it?
I was the illustrator.
Oh, okay.
So I illustrated the whole thing. I think it's around it's less than 200 pages, so it's definitely a quick read. Published by Street Noise
That's
Books.
a lot for illustration, though.
Yes.
How long did it take you to like draw everything and put it together?
Oh, like a month.
Oh, that's fast.
Well, like probably more like 2 months, but I had so much anxiety about it. And straight up, cause I'm a little bit of a smoker. I had a cart of Pineapple Express, and the Pineapple Express carried me through that whole thing because I would not sleep through the whole thing. I just, my husband's nodding in the corner. He would be like, babe, come back to bed. And I'm like, no, the due date is coming up. And, and that's, like that's what any illustrator or writer.
And what was the style of the art that you were creating?
It's more of a cartoonist kind of style. So more simple, most definitely. More simple and just focusing on the expressions and panels and all of that. So definitely just like more laid back. So it's a kind of book that you have on your coffee table, but when you read through it, and it's all due to Michael, because usually I'm the writer, but it takes me, I love focusing on my stories for such a long time. He just brought me this wonderful story, and from if you were to get some sort of like perception or whatever on kind of one of his inspirations, he loves Seinfeld. And I love Seinfeld. Okay. And we even have Seinfeld references in there. And actually, it's funny because you can kind of tell what I'm watching while I was drawing the book.
Okay.
I was actually, okay, so this is a secret, but I'm going to reveal it. I was watching Breaking Bad for the first time while I was drawing the book. So you will see Breaking Bad characters in the background of the book. I didn't even tell Michael this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So like you drew them out or like
Yes,
what?
I did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And is the book available?
It
anywhere?
is available.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's available on I believe it's available on Barnes & Noble. It's available on Amazon. It's available.
Say the title again.
Just another meat eating dirtbag.
Just another meat eating
by
dirtbag.
Michael Anthony.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to put the link on there so people can check it out.
Yes.
That seems interesting for sure.
Yeah. It was definitely fun to work through.
Cool. So you do a little bit of everything, huh? And you say you like the art department. Like, have you got to do the art department, art directing in film?
Yeah.
What was the project and what did you do?
So I definitely working on this film that I just directed. I did, me and my producer, who's the creator of the series, Lourdes, we did everything artistically. But also on other projects, I've been a storyboard artist, which is tons of fun. I love being a storyboard artist because you once you get into it, it's almost like you're a linguist. It's a shot list is another freaking language that you have to translate into visuals and all of that. So I really enjoy that. I've done costume designing. I've done wardrobing.
I gotta say, every time I see you, you have like new makeup, and it's always like fire.
Yeah,
like, you like doing different like things too.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, I also do creative photography.
Yeah.
So and I'm trying to break into acting. I actually have a role coming up, in May with Well, I don't know if I could say yet, but yeah, I have more of that stuff coming up, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about
But continue about the art direction stuff.
Yeah. No, I think because, filmmaking, you can, once you break into it, you can pick it up anywhere, but it's just like you have to be selective of the projects that you want to end up doing, because it's just like if you're looking into it as an artistic endeavor, like what's your voice and everything. And definitely the art direction department, or the art department in general, is just where I feel most at home. I've done creature design with Alejandra Cremata. That was like so much fun because, like I said, I love horror. So I got to kind of just sketch out and do all this concept art and just design these kind of spooky creatures, but that also related to what the character was going through, and just take different textures. That's what I love, is just making connections and building metaphors.
Did they create any of the creatures that you drew out, or
no?
No.
Well, it was in the script. It was in the script, but in the script it was the light figure and the dark figure. So I had to take from those and be like, well, what could they be? You know? But it's amazing too when, and that's the thing, is just I'm a huge consumer. I love consuming other people's art, and I don't know who said it first, but great artists steal. And I'm a big I love
thief.
Yeah, I'm a big thief. I've been robbing from other people and everything. But whenever I approach other people with like an idea, I'm just like, okay, so this scene from maybe The Elephant Man or Fire Walk with Me or whatever. And then Phil Tippett is also a huge inspiration of mine, who made Mad God, or Robert Morgan, and maybe you could pull from these animators, or maybe even musicians and stuff, which I'm huge about making Spotify playlists. Oh my God, just like all of it, just like it's making a stew. I'm just like, I'm throwing a little of this and then throw a little of that in there, and the next thing you know, you start building it and you start engineering all these things, whether it's whether it's on paper like a storyboard, or it's something that moves and breathes, and an actor has to communicate with it and be able to move in it. Like, what kind of textures are we using? What kind of fabrics are going to translate what maybe the character's feeling? Like, even my sweater, it's just like, is there some sort of static that's going on? Is it like a dark angelic kind of thing going on? So there's tons of ways that I love communicating things artistically.
All right, so let's talk about I'm Everywhere, which is your first film that you're directing. So talk about how you and Lourdes kind of got into this project together and how it went. Because you guys are in post-production now, right?
Yes. Okay. So it's almost done. But yeah, this is I guess you could say my directorial debut officially, even though like I've made stuff in the past. None of y'all are gonna see it.
Why not?
It's rough, bro. No, just me, basically me in college or high school making the most possible, like personally possible projects that will never. That's for me. Okay. Stuff that's for me. I'm just like, I look back on it and I'm just like, oh, that's so cute. But I'm just like, I can't,
But what if someone relates to it? Or
they will. They would. But no.
I respect
maybe,
it.
Maybe in give me 20 years we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, so how I ended up getting onto the project was I was actually supposed to be in the first installment. So I'm Everywhere is a part of the Allure to Darkness series, which was entirely created by Lourdes. And it's kind of like Vampire Diaries, or Interview with a Vampire. Lourdes is Anne Rice. This is her creation. This is her cinematic universe. And originally, I was asked to interview for the main role of Lilith from the first installment. And him, my husband, hiding in the corner, plays the main antagonist, Victor. So, first installment gets made and gets released and all that, and then maybe even less than a year or so later, she approaches me And they both approached me, actually, and they were just like, well, we're thinking about doing another installment, like the second installment, and it's going to be a prequel. They approached me with a very, very early draft of the script, and they were just like, would you be interested in directing this? You know, Landon actually elected me to direct it because he knows that I've been wanting to do filmmaking and all of that. And I was just like, you know, it wasn't even that I was necessarily looking. I was just there.
Yeah.
Right place, right time.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's how it happens.
Exactly.
So what was your approach to like doing it? It's a vampire flick and you like horror. So what was your approach to it?
So I want to approach everything, and I think this is something that comes with I guess as I've been learning and trying to have some sort of perspective is you don't always want to approach everything so seriously, because then that's when people lose interest, right? When you kind of hit people over the head with the message and all this different stuff. So what I decided that I wanted to instill and approach I'm Everywhere with was a little bit of just absurdity and humor, because it is a funny, absurd character that we're making it about. It's basically about a vampire who also happens to be a narcissist, or a narcissist who happens to be a vampire. So what would that be like? Absolutely terrible. And
have you seen What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
Okay.
That was actually one of my inspirations.
Okay.
So that have you seen the Nicolas Cage movie Vampire's Kiss?
No.
It is American Psycho, but about a guy who believes he's a vampire.
Oh, okay.
And that's where all the memes came from, actually, where he lists off the alphabet.
Okay.
And you know that one gif of Nicolas Cage where he's bugging out? He's like...
Yeah. That's from that film? Okay.
Yeah.
I know I haven't seen it. I need to check it out.
It's an iconic freaking movie.
Okay.
So I took a lot of inspiration from that. American Psycho, you know, when we were crafting the character and all of that. A Clockwork Orange, Alexander Delarge, the character. And just all these crazy kooky characters, but also stylistically, I wanted it to be fun. So you'll see... you know, what I wanted to bring to the movie was just a lot more pop and a lot more color. So I would make mood boards for every single scene and be like, these are what we're going for. These are the colors that we're going for, and this is how he's going to end up looking. Of course, I was in charge of wardrobe for all of the characters. So for Victor and the other big baddie, Thanos, you'll see have these very deliberate
what is the plot of the story? Like, what is the film about?
So, well, I mean, I think it all starts off with a Lord of Darkness. So, Lord of Darkness, basically is about this young woman named Lilith, and this all comes from Lourdes' brain, narratively. So it's inspired by her personal experiences and how she's able to express them and all that as a young woman in the film industry. So as a young woman in the film industry, the main character Lilith ends up being attacked by Victor, who wants to have her as his own, so that way he can, because he feels like he can control her, basically, and make his things for him. So branching off of that, we go to the prequel before all of the stuff, before the first installment happens with Lilith. And we kind of get to really see Victor's, we get to see his origin story. So we get to go way, 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 way back. Okay. It's kind of ambiguous to how far back, but like kind of medieval.
Okay. So you get to do like a period piece kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do have a period piece scene, but then we also bring it, you know, back to modern times right before the first installment happens. You get to see him commit a murder where he's trying to shut someone up and control his image, basically, while he's trying his best to control his image. It's funny because he's a vampire. He can't see himself. So, but at the same time, it's just like, oh, he literally literally and figuratively can't see himself. He doesn't know how to perceive himself, but he wants to perceive himself as something bigger. He's super insecure about how people see him and all that, and having control. You get to see him on a film set and try to make his movie, and also trying to build up a vampire empire, basically. So Victor is trying to build up his empire, but in reality, he's just so hyper-focused on his ego. But then we also see where that branches from. So that's what I'm Everywhere, the span of that focuses on. And it's
cool.
just going to be 10 minutes.
How long is the short? 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
I was going to ask. That's a lot in 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of lore. Lourdes has a lot of lore. And then she just texts me every now and then. She's just like, oh, what if this character, this and this? I'm like, whoa, like that adds so much to the character and everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you're in post-production now. Was there any like challenges shooting this film, or like, during production?
Challenges? I mean, we did work on it for over a year, which for a short film is I mean, typically in Vegas you see short films being made just
it takes me a long time.
Yeah? Okay, same, me too. Okay, thank God I'm not the only one.
My first short film, I think it took me like a year and a half to finish, and a lot of the stuff was like just like post-production issues, audio, sound, ADR, like trying to get it all.
How long did production take for you?
Production was like 2 weekends.
Okay.
And then, weekends. Post-production took forever. And then like working at like a full-time job and stuff,
Yeah.
So it took like a year to finish my first short film,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That just about makes sense. But yeah, we've been working on ours for a hot minute. But it's really weird. I don't know how it sounds, but I even would say it during every stage of production because I was like bearing myself for it. I was just like, okay, what's gonna happen? But it was really smooth all the way around. Like I work with amazing people, and I really am like lucky, and I'm so blessed to have the crew and the cast that I did. And every single phase of that was so much fun. I would say probably, during production, there were times where it was challenging because not only was it something that a lot of people had just like they were just getting started, me included as the director, but then you have it's a dark fantasy, which is like you have to have a set built. So we had to find set builders, which Jim Stone, he built the set for me for the ritual scene, and it ended up being amazing. But just finding stuff like sets. I think for me the most challenging part was probably the day that we shot the ritual scene, though, because we had to have special effects involved, practicals. But then we had a rig that our lead actor was chained to. And zip tied too, and I was freaking out because I was just like, "We need a safe word." And
pineapple.
Oh my God, it was that was scary, and we had some moments where it was a little scary. But thankfully, also we had people on set who are safety officers, and we were just taking care of that and everything. But we do have we have action choreography in it and all of that. But we had like 3 rehearsals before we did anything, just to make sure everyone was safe and to make sure that the choreography was down pat and everyone was great. So honestly, it was it's probably going to be the smoothest set that I'm ever going to be on.
For your first one, that's pretty good.
For my first one, yeah, exactly. I kept saying, I was just like, when does the shit start hitting the face?
When I got to fix shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is your plan now? Like, when do you think it's going to be out? Do you plan to put it in festivals? What do you?
Yes. So we're already, definitely the local festivals. So Boulder Dam, we're going to enter it in, LVFF, of course. There's a couple other festivals. If it's still going on, because I actually reviewed it before I got to digitally attend the Film Girl Film Festival, which isn't a very well-known festival, but it has great programming. So I would love to see if I could get into that one. and any adjacent festivals. So definitely we're planning on making the festival circuit. Oh, I think it's Sin City Sin Fest?
Horror Fest? Sin City Horror Fest?
Yeah, because Lourdes actually had us get into that one with A Lord of Darkness. And she did very well at that one. So we're going to return to that.
Okay. When do you think the film's going to be done?
We're looking for the film to be done this February.
Okay. So you're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Cool.
We're at the end of the race now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So what you got going on next for this year after that? You directed your first film. What's next?
That is the question. I'm like, that's literally what I asked myself today after breakfast. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do next? But I do have a lot of stuff coming out. So other than the work that I'm already doing with filmsnobreviews.com and the podcast that we have there, I have a lot of creative shoots because I love doing creative photography. So we're doing that coming up. I have one session coming up this month. And a creative Valentine's shoot coming up this month with
Do you shoot? Like, are you the photographer?
I am not the photographer. I'm actually in front of the camera.
Oh, okay, so you're modeling.
I'm modeling. Nice. I do some kooky, crazy stuff.
I've seen some of them,
yeah. Yeah, no.
The bathtub shit.
Yeah, that was I was bathing in blood, and that did get a lot of attention.
I bet.
I actually had someone who and this was prior to when we started production on I'm Everywhere. But they were actually, they called up Lourdes and they were like, I'm not going to work with Shay. I will not work with her. She's, I don't think she, I mean, he had certain beliefs, and that's fine. But then I also accidentally, like, I didn't intend on it, but my number has 666 on it, and people always give me a kind of look when they're like, oh, do you have a number with us or whatever, and they're like, are you
like, your phone number?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you go like to Walmart or something or Smith's and you put in your number, your rewards number or whatever, sometimes people are just like, okay. And then I also Oddfellows is a club here in Vegas. I have a picture with me with Baphomet just posing, and then that triggered him. Okay. So after that, he was like, I'm not gonna work with Shay. I don't think this is gonna work. And right after that, I took a photo shoot of me bathing in blood. And I'm like, oh, he's really gonna work with me now. But now, we're all clear. I'm glad you're standing by your thing, and I'd rather avoid conflict. Yeah. If anything. But yeah, photo shoots. I have a comic book that I've had in the works for about a decade now. That it's gonna be a running comic. So something adjacent to stuff like The Crow, Punisher, Deadpool are my biggest inspirations. And then I am also planning on directing some music videos with Utilitarian Librarians. And just stuff like that. I also run a monthly screenwriter support group club.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
So
how can people sign up?
Huh?
How can people sign up?
Just talk to me.
Just hit her up.
Yeah, just DM me. Just let me know.
Okay.
We're open to anybody at any skill level or any stage of their project and everything. It's a tight group right now, but I love it. People put out such great work. We motivate each other. So.
And do you plan to direct another film soon?
Yeah. But definitely, I think because this movie was also already pretty much set up. It was written by Lourdes. I rewrote a lot of stuff, and I had to rework the script in order to fit what it was that I felt like would make the movie work and everything. But moving forward, definitely I have several scripts that I have ready to workshop. So it's just getting down to the right moment and raising up enough money to do those things.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from you. It was cool. You do a lot of stuff. So,
yep.
All right, I'll put your information at the description, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.